We call the meeting to order. If we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Say it together. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We could have a moment of silence. As you notice, we have sunflowers on each end of the bench up here to represent our solidarity with those in the Ukraine that are struggling to maintain their independence. So I'd like to have a moment of silence for all those who are suffering from that war. Thank you. And on a happier note, it was brought to our attention that one of our town residents, Kathy Wells, who lives on Sweet Road, is celebrating a week from today on March 14th, her 100th birthday. Yes, we have we're 2 for 2 this year with 100-year birthdays. So we'd like to congratulate her and wish her a happy birthday and a happy and healthy year. She was apparently an election inspector here for a long time, and many people here knew her. So happy birthday. So would you call the roll for us, Nikki,
Sure.
please?
Supervisor Rotundo,
Here.
Counselor McLennan,
Here.
Counselor Loomis,
Here.
Counselor Christmas,
Here.
Highway Superintendent Way,
Here.
Town Accountant, oh, I don't have to count by.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
And just to note that Bill thought he was going to be able to zoom in from his location out of the country, but it turns out he doesn't have access to the internet, is what I'm assuming from the text I got from him. So, yeah, we're ready to proceed with the rest of the agenda. And the first item on our agenda is the Cherry Street property owned by the Chryslers. And we're here really to hear from Don about what progress he's made since I know, because you've been in my office this afternoon, but if you want to share with the rest of the board.
I left here February 7th. It was 2 weeks before I actually started to put together a permit when I went online and stuff and saw it. And that was on the 20th. On the 22nd, I reached out, contact Bob. I made a mistake in the number. I got here on the 23rd then and left a message with Bob because I had questions, and Bob called me back on March 1st, said he was just following up with things. And he actually had stepped down on the 28th, which I was told that he was going to be. And Bob said that, Don, we really need the layout of the work going to be done by an engineering firm for what needed to be taking place. I reached out to the engineering firm that Jim D'Angelo or any exactly. But anyway, I never got any response back from Jim other than he was very busy. Knowing that, I reached out to Carl Stearns, who was Crawford and Stearns architectural company that had got me in touch with them. And, Carl was like, Don, I'll come up to the meeting or whatever, but it's like, there's no reason for Carl to come up. Did I get a permit? Did I get it? No, I didn't. The only work I did on the house was where the walls were loose inside that were mentioned, and they started tearing down the chimney that was coming apart. That's how far what I had done over the course.
So
after I did leave here, actually, I did call. Renee had mentioned something. I called Don Gendron, who's the person that I was using his company to sell the house through and stuff, and I just told Don, I go, I don't know for sure, that could be the direction that it goes, that put it up on the market and see what'll happen there.
Are you thinking as is, put it on the market?
Oh, it's, I told him I'd like to work at it, but it's like whatever I'm forced into having to do, basically.
Well,
I mean, I'd like to, yeah, I'd like to finish the porch around the outside and get that on, and then I want to really support that and put that lower. I mean, it's just a crawl space. It's not a cellar or anything, that the wall is tipping on the kitchen end and stuff. And
So-
I did reach out to the Preservation Association of Central New York too, through an email. They don't have any way of contacting them direct, and I'm gonna try tomorrow too and ask them, did you get my email or something, to see if I get some response back. That's where I'm at.
so you know how we talked last time about a good faith effort?
Yeah, no, right.
And now, and
I realize it's like, yeah, Don, you didn't get,
I mean, I texted you right after that
What?
meeting. I told you I had called Bob to let him know to expect a call from you. I texted you the week after that. And just to remind you, don't forget to get in touch with Bob,
Mhm.
because you have to have something
right.
to present to us in March. And I don't feel like we're any further along. Again,
No, I mean, that's it. I agree that it's
Yeah,
not
I know.
really,
So tell me, what are you planning to do? Are you going to tear it down? Are you going to put it on the market? I mean, I don't think we can give you any more time to get work done on it. It just seems like, and please don't make it be that we're forcing you to do this. We've given you months.
no, and I agree there. I just.
Years,
I told you.
right, years. The town, not necessarily this board, but the
Right.
town has given you. So I don't know what's your inclination at this point?
To sell the property, that's, I would really like to see, like I said, Carl Stearns, that's what he just feels that that was a part of history, and if somebody would come in and take it over and put the money into it, that it would be great to, I'd like to get back out of it what I got invested, but it's like, hey, if I even lose money on it, I lose money on it.
Well, it's a valuable location relative to other places in the town, so there might be some value in the land itself. But I guess we need to explore options. I don't know. I honestly, it's like I said to you this afternoon, one thought I had, but I'm willing, I really want to hear from the two of you, from Ann, from Tim, was you have 6 months to sell it, or then it's coming down. And I get that it's got like famous people live there, but you will never get it on a national registry as is. It has to be redone to the standard of the time. And I don't think you can afford to do that.
Like I said, I wouldn't be the one being able to
Yeah, so-
interiorly do the work
Right,
that it needs
right.
to restore it that
Well,
way. I was
even
just looking at
exterior.
it back so that there weren't those weak points that it does have in it. That Jim had come up with. That was where my goal was, and sell it once, whatever. Right now, it's like Don, he's saying he could do a write-up on it as to when it was built, who was in it and everything that way, and put together a pamphlet and get it
So
out.
what you
there.
get, just see if you get any nibbles. You might, you never know.
No, exactly. No,
You gotta list it before someone's gonna attempt to
oh,
buy
yeah,
it.
no, and that's what I said to Don, yeah. And, I was looking more so having that part done, but maybe, hey, getting it listed and out there, and who knows what might come in, and somebody might really be interested in the history behind the house and wanna fix
Sooner
it.
the better.
I mean, my opinion is, it's gonna be so hard for you to get it in a shape where it would really be worth a lot more than it is.
Well, that's it. I'm not gonna.
How to sell, some-
Right.
Just,
Find someone that wants to fix it up, then they would probably buy it and fix it up. If it's someone that wants to tear it down and use it for some other purpose, then that's
Up to them.
what they would, I mean, and it's, we're not, don't want to say we're forcing you to sell it, but
No.
it has to be, I mean, I don't know how difficult it is to get permits to do fixing, but I didn't think it was that cumbersome to get permits to fix something.
I
So-
didn't really either, and then just with Bob, it's like, hey, we need to know where it needs to be jacked, we know how it's gonna be cribbed, how it's gonna be. And it's like, God, my cousin did the house over on number 4 road, and I helped him with that, and they put a full basement and cellar, and we just blocked it up and cribbed it, and I don't know, it wasn't done by
Wasn't
an
permitted?
engineering firm or anything, I mean, you got a permit to
To do
they
it.
added the house on and everything. I mean, they built onto it. That was what, maybe 5-6 years ago now, that was done.
Well,
But anyway, I just didn't realize that it was that much of an issue to get the permit to okay and work on it, where Jim had said, yeah, stud that wall up. That's when he was there. And
yeah, I can't speak to what happened 5 or 6, I don't know how many years ago, but
Yeah.
you're talking about Frank's properties?
yeah,
Yeah, so I don't know. I know that there was a lot of work done over there, but I don't know what happened back then as far as, but I know that
right.
Bob's sort of following the rules, like what's required.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just think that you're in a place right now where, it's like I said to you this afternoon, you sort of got to fish or cut bait, it's. If you continue to do nothing, that house is gonna fall apart. Even though you say it's structurally sound, eventually if you don't do
It's
anything.
downhill, right, no.
So I guess I'm curious. Ann, you got anything to add?
Don, have you done any of the stuff that you were supposed to last year? Like the.
Wait, wait, wait.
Hang on.
Oh, wait a minute.
No, it's not you, Ann.
Sorry. No, I muted myself just. in
Okay,
case.
go ahead.
Don, have you done any of the work, that you were supposed to last fall, like the back part that was falling in, on the south side? Have you done any of that kind of stuff? There was like 2 pages we had of things that should be taken care of.
Right. No, I just took down the structure that was there, so that was, it all cleaned up and stuff, and then that was it, that rear wall needed to be studded up. That was there, just a 4-foot open span, like a walk-in area or whatever it was originally, before they added onto the house. And no, I did not get that studded up. And that was where that needed to be jacked up and re-supported then, and take the old stone wall out and lay in a footer and put blocks in. No, it's not done, no. The only thing I actually did majorly that Bob was concerned was I put in the piers for the front porch and put the post in there and got that solid, and took down just my rafters that were holding it up, the support beams and stuff. It's now sitting on the solid piers. Yeah, I wish. Here you am.
I mean, if you're really gonna put it up for sale, and that seems to be that what you said last time is kind of your end game thing. I'd say just put it up for sale. Do it now. Get
As
it
is.
up for
As-
sale, put it
yeah.
as is. I mean, if you, I mean, it'd take, and I'm being realistic, if you were gonna try to go through this list of things, get through it, it'd take you at least all summer of working feverishly to accomplish those things, and it's still not gonna be in excellent shape. And if you're just gonna sell
My
it.
plan, it was August when the finish date was.
All right.
What I,
But you'd have to work on that continuously between now and then, I would think, to get most of that done. And we haven't seen that. There's been no pattern of that.
Well, I guess.
And I mean, you got other things to do. Get this off your plate.
I can do it.
Get this off your
Yeah.
plate.
I mean, how much more, how much more is it gonna be worth when you did those things there? Cause you still, that's just the structural part. You still got the whole cosmetic part.
Oh, that's,
It would still be a massive fixer upper,
mhm.
and you might not get any more for it after putting in that much money than you would just to a person that's, either wants to renovate it or do something else with it.
And that's just the thing. It's like under the county, we've got $21,000 that I can put for tearing the place down. And it's like, I don't, it's like, wow, it could be a vacant lot.
I know, and I get that it's historic, and I know that means a lot. It means a lot to everybody. It's the reality of you, it's not gonna happen on your watch. We just sort of know that, don't we?
No, well, that's it. I'm not going to be able to.
Yeah.
keep the house.
So I would like you, if the board agrees, to aggressively get your realtor to list this property.
Mhm.
Is it possible to do in a month's time to list a property?
Oh, sure.
You're doing it days time.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yes, you can.
So I'm
You can.
thinking,
Let's get it
let's
listed.
get it listed. I want, if you give us proof that it's listed before the April meeting, you don't have to come here. We'll see how it goes. But if it's not listed, we're gonna be back here looking.
Right. No, and I realize, like you say, I don't like, spending the time.
I know.
It's not me, it's
No.
about you guys, and you got other things to cover.
So that's the deal.
Okay,
List it by April, what's the meeting date? 4th?
April 4th.
April 4th, get it listed, give us proof. And then let's see what you get. Let's see.
Let's see what comes out of it.
Yeah,
You might be pleasantly
I know.
surprised. You might come out ahead.
that's what Don says, we don't know till we get it out there,
So-
when I talked to him today. that was-
okay,
I mean, and maybe someone will like the historical part of,
Right.
that'll be part of the realtor thing. Maybe someone that
I would like,
likes fixing these things up will buy it and do what you haven't been able to do. That'd be great. And you'll feel good about it.
and I know the house kitty corner from me there, it was a Nicholas house for 40 years or so. They're renovating that house and everything out. And I think that sold for like $50,000 and they totally stripped it going through it. So I don't know. I think my lot's better than theirs would be, could be, whatever, who knows? I
That's all right.
just-
Try it.
deal, that's the deal.
Yeah, sounds.
1 month, get it listed.
Yep.
And if you don't want to come back here.
Please, this.
Don't. So, okay. Thank you. Tom, the bookkeeper's report.
Oh, I think I gave everybody the monthly statements. Every day on receipts and disbursements, which is a separate page that shows the current stuff happening. It was pretty quiet, light month for town clerk fees, a little bit over $500. Both courts did turn in some funds. The assessor's office, we did receive the rent from the town of Fabius for that, and we had one road damage deposit in the highway. And on the expenditure side, we had some big numbers in general abstract number 2. The majority of that was the Pompey Hill fire taxes and the Southern Onondaga trash system funding that we collect taxes for. Highway fund, pretty quiet. And then down at special districts, the 809,000, that was KVAC ambulance service contract, Delphi Falls fire contract, and Manlius fire contract was what that great big number represents there. As far as the main report goes, pretty early in the year, our general fund spending is at about 15% without the trash district that shows up a big chunk of that. Our revenues are currently at about 74%. That's mostly taxes. And then our highway spending is currently at 7% and our revenues there are at about 76%. So a little too early in the year to get excited about much of anything there. And I guess that's all I had for you on.
I'll make a motion that we accept that report.
I second that. So Ann made a motion, Judy seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carried.
I think the bank reconciliations made their way around. We could have a motion. I think we had supervisors, tax collector, and town clerk in that pile.
I'll make a motion that we accept the bank reconciliations for the supervisor, clerk, and tax collector.
Second it. Again, Ann made the motion, Judy seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, Motion carried.
Okay, the vouchers look like they made it around. I took a quick look through it. Looks like everybody signed off on them.
You got 3.
Yep.
So winning.
All I could hope for.
Yeah. I would make a motion for, to authorize payment of the bills.
I'll second it.
James seconded it. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Okay, and I had one more thing for you. The annual update, which is the end of the year report. This is the state's version of
Oh,
this.
oh my
Is
gosh.
that with the AUD thing?
This is the AUD, so they're rather wasteful.
Yes, I see that. 2
So,
lines on
Oh
a
my
page.
gosh, that's terrible.
yeah, it's just, it's obscene. I was told this year, though, when I was having many problems logging in and getting their system to work, that next year they're coming out with a whole new system for us to
Oh, great.
learn. So it'll probably be much worse,
I
yes.
saw a reference to that,
Sorry,
actually.
Tom.
Be much worse. So do we need to do anything with
So,
that? That
yes,
was
we
on-
need a motion to accept it and to have the town clerk place a notice in the paper that has been filed and is available for viewing during normal town clerk hours. And also, I'm giving a copy of the Southern Onondaga trash system, which is normally 2 pages. So,
I'll make a motion that Nikki do a legal notice for the filing of the year-end report and the SOTS report.
Second it. Dan made a motion, Judy seconded it. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
and that was all I had on my list for now.
I had a question for you, and if you don't feel like you want to answer it right now, that's fine. But I thought I asked you before the meeting, but I have a feeling I didn't.
Give it a try.
Just wondering if you want to say anything at all about what the rise in energy costs, inflation, the war, et cetera, is likely to, what kind of impact that is likely to have on municipal budgets.
Well, the first thing that I've been noticing is the electric bills are starting to creep up. They've gone up, the per kilowatt or whatever it is, seems to be creeping up on us. The ones that don't use a whole lot of energy, there was no change, like the schoolhouse, the sign up in Pompey, those are basically flat to last month. But like the town hall went up by a couple $100, the garage went up by a couple $100. And so that's the first sign. As far as the fuel, I believe we're on county contract for diesel, which is the main thing that we use the most of. And I'm not sure how that escalator works, but I haven't seen a huge increase in the cost there yet.
I get monthly emails, you know, what the price is gonna be.
So they're warning you already. See, I don't
It's
get those.
And what about,
Our propane
but we,
didn't go up much. It was still $2.30.
so are we, and that should be off, I mean, we should be.
223.6.
Once the heat pumps go in, we won't be relying on propane for the towns.
For this building.
Yeah, but we still have the propane down.
But we'll probably, our energy will increase,
Yeah,
our electric will
yeah,
increase with
right.
heat pumps.
Yeah.
But, you know, we're looking at about $1,500 a month right now in propane, so our electric bill is only a few $100s on this building, so.
And then there's the cost of steel. I hate to even bring that up. But that's a biggie too, right? That is very much impacting his purchasing.
It'll impact, especially when we start buying machinery.
Okay. I talked to BR about this morning. What I just really think we need to keep close watch on the things that are gonna be most likely impacted, like the electric bill, like the fuel, like, and just let us know where we're at. So that if it's looking like we're really going south on these, on our budget, that we're aware. And I'm not saying you wouldn't do that anyway, but I'm just saying, I just want to say it for the public's sake, is that we're very, very attentive to the budget, but we are in unprecedented times with the cost of goods and services. It's just outrageous, and we're not immune, so.
I
we'll
mean,
do the
fortunately, we
best
have a
can.
very large diesel fuel tank that doesn't get filled all that often, like
No,
you don't get the daily delivery, so we're
You-
still we're still relying on
We've got-
fuel from a while ago
We've
right
got
now.
some
Yes.
low-cost fuel relative to now.
Yeah, our next one will
Prices
probably
now.
be a little brutal.
Should probably be in the next week or two. The order.
So if you could, you know, that little chart thing I was talking about that you guys do?
Which
That I was
one?
talking to Teresa about today, the one that breaks out your, each line that
Yeah.
your expense out
Yeah.
of for equipment and things do you get that? Or is that just a highway thing?
I think it just mirrors what's in your monthly.
So
report.
that's what I was gonna ask you. Is it the same exact thing as what's in?
I don't get their reports, but I think
So
in
we
the
can.
past, they've always mirrored each other and
All right,
used their
so
internal to
we don't
match
need-
mine.
that's what I wanted to know. I don't think we need to, we were talking today, like maybe that would be good for us to see, but if it's in,
It's already
as
in
long
there.
as it's the same as what's here, then we don't.
I mean, I don't think she breaks it down by machine or anything like that for you. does
No,
she?
not right now.
Yeah, so it would be the same numbers we have, it's
Yeah.
just the generalized number.
Okay, just that's all. Thank you.
But maybe when the next fuel bill comes in, maybe if we could denote what the difference is
Price,
in pricing between the first and last.
we can do that.
Okay, are you good?
Yep.
Nikki, town clerk report?
Yes.
Collector, if you got any?
Yes, I am looking for board acceptance to approve my February 7th, 2022 regular meeting minutes.
I make a motion that we accept your 7/22 regular meeting, board meeting.
I'd second that.
All right.
Any discussion? Everybody get a chance to look at the
Yes.
minutes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
The next thing is our 2022 Earth Day planning. So I've been working with Martha Viglietta and other members of the ECC. And we're hosting the Pompey Earth Day event to be on Saturday, April 30th from 9 a.m. until noon at the Pompey Town Hall. So very similar to last year, we're hoping that people will join us for a day of stewardship and celebration of our beautiful town. We're asking family members and friends and neighbors to do the roadside cleanup, collect bags. You can bring them up. I think last year we just had them, we brought them right up to right in front of the highway department.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Okay.
Somebody will be over there.
We're also offering free scrap metal drop off, no AC units, no refrigerators, no microwaves, and no electronics. If anyone has any questions of what is accepted or what's not accepted, you can go to the Okra website to see a full list. We're also doing 5 free seedling giveaways. You have the choice between white spruce or red pine for the seedlings. And we are still waiting. I'm working with Barbie at our shred solvers on the paper shredding. I'm not sure if we're able to offer that yet, but I will know by our next meeting.
And I think, I just saw an email I think from Martha today about milkweed.
Oh,
Packet.
I haven't seen that yet.
And I reached out to Dave Scavell too, who lives in the town, but he's also part of Cornell Cooperative. and Just trying to figure out where can we get them.
Right.
But Martha seemed to think she had a source.
Okay.
Some up and sell it.
So do you have any? Get your milkweed out, go harvest it and bring it
I
to
think I
April
need it. I
30th.
think I gotta find another source of income. here.
But we don't want to take yours. If you got ones in the ground already, just give us those seeds.
They should be sharing.
Have the kids come and pick the seed pods for you.
I know. PR just said you probably spray for those. Well, there's people that'll come and dig them up for you, let me tell you. So, but I think that we're gonna try this year to give those away as well. If
would
we
be
can get, and it'll be first come, first serve. Last year we ran out of the trees, but we tried to get more than we got more this year ordered than we did last year, but not as many as we wanted. Trees, seedlings, but still in all, hopefully there'll be enough for everybody that wants them.
That'd be good. Okay, so moving on, I have a request to attend the New York State Town Clerk Association meets once a year. It's the 2022 conference at the Crown Plaza, Albany at the Desmond Hotel. I provided the board members with info. It's a 3-night package. It includes accommodations and meals. I also included the registration costs, gas and tolls. So I'm looking for approval to go to the,
I'll make a motion that we authorize Nikki to attend it. It's a worthwhile event to go to. You learn so much, and I'm glad she's wants to go.
I'll second it.
Okay, James, Ann made the motion, James seconded. I just want to check. Did you say you checked with Tom on the monies in the budget?
yes, I did check with Tom. There
Okay.
is money there available for me
Okay.
to go if I
I'm
wanted to.
happy to send, always happy to send people to training to the extent that we get the money.
That's great.
Any other discussion? Nope. All those in
Wanna go with
favor? Yeah. All those in favor?
I
Sorry.
It's okay, opposed, motion carried.
All right. The last thing I have is just an update on COVID in the building. So we're respecting anyone's choice to mask or to not mask. At the time, we're not mandating masks be made, but it is a choice. We also have several COVID test kits available to Pompey residents. Even if you've come in before and you've already received them, they're still available to you. Just call the town hall or stop up during normal business hours, and we still have those. We do not have any masks, but we have lots of test kits available to the residents.
Okay.
But that's all I have.
Highway, BR?
I am requesting board approval to purchase a couple garage doors. I have 4 bids. Actually, these bids are for just one.
They're quotes, right?
These are quotes, yes. The Cedar Lane door service was $10,494. The next two I suggest we go through because they're half price.
What's it again? 10-1?
That was
10-494?
$494.
Ceiling.
Assuming, Tim, this was legit, or did
Yeah,
you
I-
change anything on it, or?
No, I've reviewed it, with the vendor has provided us is a indemnification to a certain extent, but at least a representation that he and his partner owner are the only ones that will be doing work on this project. He will not have any other workers, therefore he's not subject to workers' compensation requirements or the prevailing wage. So I'm satisfied with that. As long as he is the only one and his partner are the only ones doing the work on that project. There should be nobody else.
Yep, I'll make sure of that.
Okay.
They should still probably provide us with their liability.
Yeah, we'll get a liability.
Yes.
Go ahead, sorry.
No, I was gonna say, do you want to read the other quotes, or if that's the low one and that's what you're recommending?
That's low, and that's what I'd recommend, but, the other one was 19,790. That was Jensen overhead door. By the way, we did get the door fixed.
I saw that, I saw the bill.
And when we do turn in the final bill for payment, the final voucher, please attach all the quotes, just so that they're there in case
Okay,
we get audited.
And just so you know, board members, the attachment to the Cedar Lane document you've got, you don't need to keep that with that, but this is a really nice little information sheet about prevailing wage and what's required of us as a contracting agency. So you could detach that from this and just keep it as a general information reference, yeah. Tom sent that to us when we were looking into that issue, and I thought it was a good resource for me to have.
Tom got to sit through 3 hours of training on it.
Better you than us. I know.
the overhead door was 18,260 and the wing Dalton was 17,703. So I'd like to move forward with the Cedar Lane.
Who's the partner with Glenn Martin in this? And does it say in here? Doesn't say.
Just whoever's business partner is.
So as long as they're co-owners.
Yes.
Yes.
If it's good, there's no prevailing wage
That's right.
requirement. If they were to
There's
bring
no
along an
payroll
employee.
employees there.
Yeah,
is-
okay,
All right.
okay, that's the key.
So
And they're-
we accept their representations, and BR is just gonna have to make sure that they are the only ones working on the project.
Well, given the other proposals you got, I would make a motion to award the work to, is it Cedar Lane
That's-
door service?
Yeah.
for no more than $10,494
Well, that's for one door.
for one door. Oh,
You
you
want
want,
two?
I think we should.
Oh, you
do
want
both for
two?
That price, that's what I was suggesting.
so,
It'll be 20.
oh, wait a minute, so then it's 988, so it's
20,988.
988, so
There
then
it is.
award them the work for doing both doors.
Public project, 35,000.
35. We're under
For
that.
the, and you've got four quotes, which,
I got four.
yeah,
quotes, yeah.
so for $20,988, and we have money in the budget to cover those, yes?
We've got a lot of money under garage.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
second it.
okay, Judy seconds it. Any discussion? And anything?
Nope, nope, I think it's good.
All those in favor?
I
Aye, opposed? Motion carried. And the other item, I guess, is off until
Yep, till we,
later in the year.
yes.
Oh, so a second item. Okay, moving right along, Tim?
Okay. Schoolhouse property, dispute over ownership of cherry tree removal of wood from property. So that cherry tree was taken down. I have been in contact with the neighbor who has claimed that the cherry tree was on her property. I have looked at all the site plans and the surveys related to this property, and based on those, it looks like it was on the property of the town, and was able to have been taken down by the town.
Okay.
And I have asked them to provide me with information that would contradict that, with a new site plan or a new survey, and they have not provided that to me. So I believe that that tree should be removed, or we should store it, or do whatever we would do with that, with the wood. So I guess that's just kind of work to the board.
The tree is still there.
Well, it's down on, but we've left it right there until this was resolved. So both parties, both the town and the other owner said, nobody's touching the wood until we figure it out. It's very valuable. It's cherry.
Cherry,
It's
right.
Beautiful wood.
That's good.
And so we need, but if, once we resolve this, then we'll remove it from the site. And just so people understand, the reason it had to be taken down was because it was overhanging. It was, I think it was split, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
split.
It was split and it was a beautiful tree, but it was split and it was overhanging the schoolhouse, and it made no sense to leave it there and risk it falling onto the schoolhouse. So it had to come down.
Okay.
So,
So there's no action on the board's part. I just wanted to update.
no, and so we can do what we want now as far as removal.
Yeah, I would remove that wood, put it at highway garage wherever we would store it, and then determine what we're gonna do with it after we safely remove it.
Right. Thanks.
There are several contracts that sent to the board, for review and approval. First is the SAM contract.
I think it's.
Just to interrupt for just a second, Tim, I'm sorry, but I didn't, everybody got these ahead of time, board members, but two of the contracts were very lengthy. So I've made a copy for anybody who wanted a hard copy to look at, but everybody's gotten them. So I just want to make sure that James came in a little bit late, and I wanted to make sure you had a chance to look at that. So, sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt.
It's okay. So the first contract, the SAM contract, is for the purchase of a road grader. Great all, for $400,000. That is a reimbursable contract. In other words, the state will reimburse us once we actually purchase it. We set aside, I think, $38,000 for that project. I have reviewed the contract, and it's a standard state contract for reimbursement. And I would recommend that we move to approve that contract and have the supervisor sign it.
I'll make a motion that we authorize Renee to sign the contract for the Great All.
Dan made the motion, Judy seconded it. James, did you
there's a lot of legalese in there, so I
I
don't,
see it.
yeah, it really is, it's simple in the sense that it's for one item.
I did read through the
The one
email
that I sent
too
you.
also,
Yeah.
but it's easier for me to see it here than it
I
is
know.
email.
I know, that's why I made, but I didn't want to copy it like
No.
multiple times. It's a big document. So,
So we spend the money, we submit the vouchers to the state because it's one item, it's a relatively simple contract in terms of how we get reimbursed, and then we're
How long does it take to get
a long
reimbursed?
time. Oh,
A while usually, but
I know.
there's, one of my other towns just ordered a great all in December and it arrived in January, so.
Wow.
It's a smaller unit, but
From the end, this is a very good way to get a very important piece of equipment.
Yes.
done that
With
would
state
be-
funding.
That would be
Right.
really hard on a general budget to try to cover. So
Exactly.
we don't want, that's. I mean,
That
I
was
think
the
the
whole-
people should know
yeah.
that that's why now is the time to do this when it's
Yeah, we've been
available.
working on this
yeah,
for
almost.
about a year and a half
Yeah.
since we started with, this came through Senator May's office, this opportunity. And it was only for certain item, it was, everything's sort of got a limitation, but BR's predecessor proposed a great all, and I submitted a request for $400,000 for the great all, and it's gone through the processes, and I was actually surprised, Tom, I wasn't expecting the
Yeah.
contract this quickly. Thought it was gonna take longer, but we've gotten the contract, so I was ready to sign, and actually, legal has to sign off on it too, so.
So I think with these deals, once we've signed off on the contract, then they send us a project number, I believe. And then once we have our project number and the authorization, we can go ahead and order it.
That'd be great.
We might be able to order it this year.
Nice.
That'd be great. Catching up on. No.
Thank God.
Okay.
So there was a motion and a second. I don't-
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
We got so
Motion carried. We
excited.
got sidetracked. Thank you,
All
Tim.
right. So that's been approved. The next is the Main Street beautification contract from the county of Onondaga, which provides 100.
That is not right, the amount.
It was more than that,
It
right?
was almost
I thought it
300,
was
Yeah,
340,000.
Yeah.
a lot.
So-
Yeah.
so-
The numbers are wrong.
This is another reimbursable grant. We have to come to an agreement with the recipients of the grant. And I don't think this has been resolved yet as to whether or not we're gonna lay out the money first, or if they're going to lay out the money and then we're gonna reimburse them through the voucher from the county. So there are some changes that need to be made to the contract. I'm comfortable if you want to go forward and approve the contract tonight, subject to legal review and changes that need to be made because there's some factual problems with it. Do they need this done tonight?
I think the county doesn't need it done, but the businesses who have put in for
Okay.
the work, who are going to be the recipients of the funds, they're sort of in limbo because they want to start moving ahead because the season's coming.
Right.
So I would hate to put this off another month. I would rather have us,
Approve it subject to legal
yeah,
review.
yeah. And I don't know how
Sounds
you.
good. That
are
sounds
you
good.
okay?
Yes, I'm
With that. Some of the things, look at the bottom of the first page. They have South Salina Street in the town of Pompey. It's obviously not in the town of Pompey, okay? So, I mean, there's some obvious
wondering.
errors in it, and some of the numbers don't add up. So I don't know what they were looking at when they prepared this. So I need to kind of touch with the county, but if we can work out the kinks in this and it meets with Tim's approval for me to sign it, I would rather just be able to get it signed as soon as we can, if we can do it before the next
I
board
agree.
meeting. So I would make a motion to approve the Main Street beautification grant contract, subject to further negotiation with the county to straighten out the errors and clarification, and to Tim's
Agreement.
acceptance, and then I would be willing to sign. So,
Second it.
okay, Judy seconds it. Any discussion?
I think that's a great idea.
No? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. That keeps that moving. That's the reason
Yeah.
we should do it that
I
way.
mean,
People are asking me.
when he gets it figured out, he'll let us know what,
Oh, yeah.
all right,
Yeah, I will.
At the next meeting.
okay.
The next item is the enhanced insurance service contract, which is exactly the same as last year. If anybody has any questions, I would recommend that we approve the amendment and authorize the supervisor to sign it.
I'll make a motion that we authorize Renee to sign the agreement with the sheriff's department for the services.
I'll second.
Oh, second. Okay.
I'll second it.
Ann made the motion, James seconded. Any discussion? The only thing I would say is that actually the rate went down. I don't know why,
The
but
rate is $84.11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's a little bit lower, which we'll take. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Next on under me is, I guess, a tutorial on minutes.
Well, sorry to do that to you. I
I'll be
just,
happy to do it.
okay. The reason this came up, just so you know, is because I attended the virtual Association of Towns conference. And one of the sessions was on legal issues, and this came up on meeting minutes, and they used the term town board approves the minutes. And so we've always accepted them, thinking that they're the board secretaries, which is our town clerk's minutes. So catching that, I put a little note in the chat box asking the presenters, do you mean approve or accept? And so that started a whole discussion about whose minutes they are and blah, blah, blah. So I brought that up to Tim's attention, and I think you can handle this. You can wing this.
I'm sure Nikki's been to all the classes on whose minutes are they anyway, and that's a very favorite topic of town clerks.
Yeah.
And in fact, they are the town clerk's minutes. You should understand that in terms of minutes, the only thing that state statute requires to be in the minutes are resolutions that are passed by the board, motions and resolutions and votes. Those are the only things that is required to be in the minutes, and that's got to be recorded, and it would be in your official minute book to show what actions the town board has taken. Of course, we want those to be accurate, and that's why the town clerk, many times in most towns, provides those minutes to the board so that they can review them and make sure that it accurately reflects the motions that are made. As long as they're accurate, it is the clerk's terminology, is the clerk's responsibility to put it in the voice of the clerk, not at the town board necessarily. And ultimately, if there is something specific that you would want to have seen in the minutes that weren't in the minutes, the clerk does not have to do that. What I always recommend is that if a town board member felt something was very important that should go in the minutes, they should provide that in writing to the clerk, and they can attach it to the minutes as addendum. But again, even that is not required by the clerk. Aside from the resolutions and the motions that are offered during meeting, it's important that the clerk also provides some context to those motions and some context to the discussion that takes place. Because as your attorney, that is what helps me in the event I ever have to go to court and explain to a judge why a board made a decision it made. Is that should be reflected in the minutes. So that's why we have more than just motions in our minutes. We have a discussion that takes place. And that really gives me, because in the end, if I have to go to a judge on an Article 78, I have to prove to a judge that the decision that the board made was not arbitrary or capricious, but had a rational basis. Very low standard for me to meet. I only have to show the judge that there was a reason why they did what they did. And you don't even have to agree with the reason, judge, but there was a reason and here's the rationale for it. So that's why the minutes are so important, to reflect those kinds of discussions. That is, the minutes under the law are supposed to be done within a couple of weeks of the meeting, which is very rarely met, especially on long meetings. But those are, that is a requirement under the statute. And, but in the end, they are the clerk's minutes, and the clerk is responsible to make sure that the minutes properly reflect the motions that have been made at meetings. And that's really the
It's just
extent of,
confusing because it wasn't, they used the word approve.
right, and there's no requirement to approve minutes, there's no requirement to accept minutes. It is helpful if you do that, because again, if I have to go to court, I can say, judge, the board reviewed the minutes and approved those, so they properly reflect what the board felt or what the board said. So, and that's, as the attorney, that's what it always comes down to me is, do I have a record of what was done and why it was done, so that if somebody complains about what we're doing, I'll be able to justify it. But there's no requirement to agree to or accept minutes.
Okay.
Well, odds are, if there are ever any issues with the minutes, it would probably be in the minutes of the one discussing what happened with the minutes, right?
Right.
And we video record, so.
Well, that's
the other beauty.
the new development. That's the new wrinkle in this all, is that now everything is recorded.
Right.
Everything is on video. And if a judge really wants to know what
I know.
happened, I can just show them the video.
And watch 3 hours of a board meeting
Yeah.
or paint dry, whichever he prefers.
So does that answer your question?
Yes. Yes, I just wanted to clarify it because I don't want us to be doing it wrong.
And is it consistent with what they were saying the other day?
A little bit. There's some differences, but I mean, they said that we can ask to have, the town board can ask to have, or any board, I guess, information revised or added. And that, but that we don't have to even do this, but that the state comptroller's office likes town boards to accept minutes for some reason. That's what OCS likes to see the town boards approve minutes.
They like to know that the board has reviewed them. So technically, if you're making a motion to accept or approve them, you're saying that you've read them and they're accurate.
Right. So,
So that's that.
okay,
State law allowing virtual attendance of board meetings is due to expire on 3/15. Yeah, I'm told that it's going to be extended again.
okay.
But the question that it was raised to me was, can we do a local law that allows us to do virtual meetings?
Not so much virtual meetings, but that allows some board members to be able to participate without having to go to a community area, which every time they extend this, like right now, Ann, you're in a private place, right? Because of this state legislation. If that ever gets taken away, she'd have to go, anybody who wants to virtually.
Because that's what the state law says.
Yeah, because
So you'd
open
have to-
meetings law, it says you have to go to the Pompey Mall or.
And there's actually some debate as to whether or not,
Stuff I wouldn't know.
Yeah. Me, I wouldn't either.
But-
there's some debate as to whether or not I disagree with anybody who argues that there's some debate as to whether or not the person still has to be in the town when they're,
I've seen that.
and
That-
I disagree with that.
I do too.
I disagree with that. I don't think the law says that as long as you're participating, especially virtually, and it's in real time, everybody can see Ann, everybody can hear what Ann's saying. It's as if she's here. So
Yeah.
fine with that. But they're even talking about superseding state law for that.
But I mean.
I don't
if
think
that
we
is
can.
local, you don't think we can? Okay.
I personally don't think you can. I'm still waiting for a call back from the Association
Yeah.
of Towns to verify that. But it is a lot, it would be like us saying we're going to supersede oil laws. It's a law of general applicability that affects you statewide. Open meetings laws, those are laws of general applicability that that all town boards are subject to. But I'm sure there will be a difference.
Again, it came up on a state, I don't think it was Association of Towns, I can't remember. It might have been state comptrollers. Somebody brought it up in on a recent virtual meeting
And said you could pass a local law that
yes,
would allow you.
that would
to
allow us to have our board members be able to participate virtually without having to be in a public place, which is, if you're out of state, who is going to be interested in what is going on in the town?
Right.
You know, it makes no sense. And it allows both board members to participate, even if you're sick, you don't come because you're sick, but you
Right,
can
but
do,
you
if
can.
you stay home, you can still do it. You can still
Right.
participate. You don't give your germs to everybody else.
Right.
And I just think it's better for the public that we got more of our board members
agree.
engaged, but it's not my decision, and I was hoping with the local law, we could make it our rule.
But no.
But to be continued, let's see what your AOT person says.
I mean, the virtual thing is nice also to get comment and stuff.
Yeah.
From the public, because if you haven't decided you want to come and sit here for 2 hours for a meeting, you could listen to it and type in a comment or a concern or a question, and that
Mhm.
I think it's helped,
I do
I think
too.
it's helped public,
Yeah.
not hurt it, but that's my opinion.
I agree with you. I agree. All right, so my report. Codes. So we've spent the last month or so, and when I say we, I'm talking about our planning board chair, our zoning board chair, our code officer, and our code clerk, and myself, meeting to figure out how to restructure the codes office so that it is staffed to the appropriate level to meet town demand. And as people know, we've lost our codes officer at the end of February. His busy season at SUNY Morrisville is starting up again. He's a project manager there, and juggling the two is just, I mean, he's done it longer than I ever thought he would. So we're back to a search for a code officer. We've also redone our job description for both the code officer position, code enforcement officer position, as well as a deputy code enforcement officer position, because the consensus of the group that's been meeting is that we really should have a second person, two part-time people, one to be this code enforcement officer who would oversee the deputy, a deputy position to go out in the field and handle complaints, and also to do fire inspections and things like that. But also have the main code enforcement officer be the go-to for applications, for permits, it matters before the planning board, inspections and COs. Both positions would be part-time. One would be the deputy code position. We would start off as really part-time, because we really not ever had a sense of what it's like to have somebody work the full 19 hours, because Bob just struggled with that, and the other guy wasn't here long enough to make, to establish that. So that's what we're looking to do. For temporary coverage, we're good for planning board issues because our planning board chair is taking those on. Complaints, I am basically fielding, thank you very much, but I am. And I just want to say, first of all, thank you to the group that worked together to really dig down deep and look at what we need. Dave Tessier was excellent. He put together the job descriptions. We got data from each of the last 6 years on total numbers of permits issued and the types of permits and how much time they take as far as inspections go. And he really did a very data-based analysis and determined that an office with a full-time, a part-time codes officer and a part-time deputy, it would suffice for the town's needs. So the only thing that is a problem is we have no one to review permit applications when they come in. That's a problem because people cannot have their applications sit. They need to be able to do work at their
Right,
homes.
right.
So I reached out to our previous code enforcement officer, Lloyd Sutton, and asked if there was any way he could help us out temporarily. And he has agreed to review permits for us, which I am beyond grateful for.
Big time.
Because I really don't want these sitting. And in the meantime, the job descriptions should get posted on our website, I do believe. I gotta check with, I'll talk to you guys about that, but also the notice about the positions that we're looking to fill. I've applied to the county for, you have to apply to get the addresses and contact information for the lists for the code enforcement officer and the deputy code enforcement officer from those people that took the tests, the civil service exams. So that there's a pool. We also have some town residents who are interested, so we will be gearing up to do some interviews this month, and hopefully we won't be long without. But in the meantime, I'd like the board to consider, and this is open for discussion, authorizing former code enforcement officer Lloyd Sutton to handle all of our permit applications in the temporarily. And we would pay him the rate of the code enforcement officer at $35 an hour, however long, I don't know how long it takes to review. I've got one sitting right here, which is why it's such an issue. I don't want this one sitting. Somebody needs to look at it, and it's not me because I don't know what I'm looking at, but it's all in order. There's a check here and it's all ready to go. We just need somebody to review it. So what are your thoughts on that as a plan, board members?
I think it's an excellent idea. I've known Lloyd for a long time. He's an expert in his field. And I think we'd be lucky to have him if he'll be here for us. Definitely.
I agree with you, Judy. Lloyd knows the rules and he's qualified to do it. And I'm grateful that he would do it.
I mean, he's just doing the permits, or is he gonna be doing not the other stuff?
No, not inspections, not at this moment, unless there becomes a crisis where we need something done. And we could approve it open-endedly like that if you want, and any other thing, any other like inspections or whatever. Whether or not he would take that on, I did not discuss it with him. I was mostly concerned about not having permits sit.
That's a good idea.
So,
I mean, I agree, we can't have permits sitting there without,
No.
No.
something has to move forward, and if he's available while we're.
how he put it
while
to
we're
me is he
searching,
would
I
do
think-
whatever he could to help us, but he does have limitations. He's pretty, his plate is really full already, so he is doing us a favor. But I can't think of anybody more qualified
I
than
can't
Lloyd
either.
to help us out in a pinch, so.
Make
happy.
a motion to accept Lloyd Sutton as our temporary, so that we can do the permits
I'll second it.
at the $35 an hour.
And seconded it.
Second.
Do we want to make it and
Can we make it
any
and-
other, or do we want to leave it to this for now?
To review
Just-
permits and to review
Others?
and any other,
About codes duties.
any other code
Yeah, that's good.
enforcement duties required for a period of 2 months.
That sounds, Yeah.
That sounds good,
Sounds good.
yeah, we'll
Perfect.
see how we make out.
right.
We'll give
that,
that much
Nikki.
time.
Did you get that?
Got that, Nikki?
Okay.
Got it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Great.
That's a relief, I gotta tell you.
I bet it is.
It'll be a relief for the people that want these permits.
That's what I'm, yeah.
Right.
So
I put on here, the next item is the disposition of property. I did with it, policy. The thing that was hanging us up last month, if you recall, was that we were trying to figure out the proper wording for how to define what should be on the inventory list, subject to town board approval before disposition, being disposed of, and what could be disposed of by department heads, for instance, highway. So I tweaked this. This is version number 4. But what I did was I put in a purpose category, a purpose statement at the top. But also I decided to define all the terms that we're using. And then once they were defined in terms of what property is, what inventory property is, and what the term, this is a term that Tim suggested we use. It's called de minimis, which means of little value, basically, right? Minimal. Property, which the de minimis property would
Your
be,
door blew shut, I think. I don't know why.
mine blew shut.
Yeah.
It was shut.
Oh, it was shut. I don't know. One of the doors just shut out there.
Huh.
Which one?
Because that category could be disposed of without board approval, but with a quarterly report. And quarterly, I just threw in there. I don't know whether it should be quarterly or whatever. So then it follows with a section on procedures for each of the types of properties or each of that are defined. Then it goes through a procedure for each of them as to how they would be disposed of. So the inventory property is obviously the one that we care most about because it's usually our expensive stuff that lasts a while, and then when it needs to go, it should have board approval. So I don't know if everybody's had a chance to review this. I'm at a point with it, quite honestly, where I think we try
I
to.
just had a few words to change
Yes,
in it. and we're
and
good.
I gave this to Tom, I gave it to Tim. I think that I know we talked about it earlier, but I would absolutely welcome your refreshing my
So the one
memory.
under definitions, item number 3, inventoried property. Item B says has a replacement value greater than 1,000. I think it should just be a value greater than 1,000.
Okay.
Because we don't know what the replacement value is going to be. It could be a $500 computer that in 6 years, it's $1,000 and then it needs to be on the list, but we don't know that in advance.
Okay.
And then number 6, it said obsolete. I noticed that later in the wording, we were using scrapped and salvaged for that type of material. So I think that should probably be changed to either we got to change it every place that scrap shows up to obsolete, or we change obsolete to scrap property.
I hate to change obsolete to scrap just because it's,
Maybe we should put in parentheses then after obsolete property scrap, because we're using scrapped on
well,
the next
how about
page.
if I change it to, or add to it, property that is no longer has any operational use or value and can be scrapped, salvaged,
Ah,
destroyed.
perfect. Yeah, that's good.
I'll add,
Do it
I'm
then.
gonna, yeah, let me just add that. Which is. for the
Which is what it
board's-
says later on when you're
Yeah,
getting rid of it.
Paragraph 2, I mean, on page 2, the little 6I Roman numeral, that's where it comes up again. So I'm just gonna take that language and add it to the definition of obsolete property. And
Yeah, that would
we'd be good to go because Nikki is chomping at the bit to get in that storage room.
driving me
There's
crazy.
so much
It's
stuff in
full.
there.
It's
It's
so full.
terrible.
Like there's no shelf space.
There's no, yeah, and there's stuff on the floor and it just, there's so much. And you have something still.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So the only,
And then the only other one I had was on the last page under town property inventory, under number 2, it says, in the middle of the third sentence says the current depreciated value thereof. And we don't normally depreciate equipment in a municipality. We carry it at its original purchase value. The only thing that we would use a depreciation value would be on insurance for vehicles over 10 years old.
okay,
So I don't know whether that really needs to be in there.
So I will take it out. We don't put that on our list as we.
We don't depreciate anything now. There's no reason to. And in fact, on our insurance for like the less than 10-year-old trucks, we're actually using the appreciated or what it would cost to replace it values.
Yeah,
So there's you wouldn't want to show a depreciated value of your big trucks because we're insuring them for what it costs to buy them today as
Right.
opposed to what.
Replacement value.
Right.
Rather than in current value.
Right. So other than, those were the only minor changes I saw. It looks pretty good other than that, and we'll really cut down on the amount, on the length of the inventory sheet.
and just so if you look at paragraph 4 under definitions, that's the thing we were struggling with, how to draw the line. And so where we drew the line was any property, de minimis property, even if it has a serial number and 1 year or more useful life. If it has a replacement, no, if it has a value, just a value
The value, yes.
The value. of $1,000 or less, it can be disposed of, and then that's where department heads can do it and then just file a report. Except that it does not apply to property that is capable of storing town data. That still has to go through a separate process where it goes to our IT vendor and he deems the device cleared of town data and has retrieved it and gives us something in writing, and then we are ready to dispose of it.
Well, we had a perfect example of that in the vouchers tonight. There was a printer that would cost us $199. In the past, it would have been onto the inventory. Now with this ruling, it would not be on the inventory. So, but it's, you know, the printer almost costs less than the toner that goes in it.
Well, and another example would be a cell phone might cost very little, less than 1,000, but if it has capable of storing data, it has to go to IT first. So it's just it's hard to try and encompass every eventuality, but I think we
Did a good job.
tried.
Rebecca, there'll be something that comes
I
up
know.
eventually, but this is
We
a
worked so
great
hard.
step.
We could amend it if we had to.
Right,
If an issue
right,
arose,
right.
we could amend
Yeah,
it.
it's a starting place for
Right.
being able to give guidance to town employees on what do I do with this? You
Right,
know, what do I
right.
do with? And, you know, don't give us a report, BR, that says, we disposed of paper clips and pencils and pens and,
Yeah. Excellent job, Renee. You worked really
Thanks.
hard on it.
well, I took 4 tries to feel like I could get it right, but thank
Well,
you
you
for the
got
help.
it. You got it.
So would anyone like to make a motion?
Make a motion, we accept this proposal?
With the discuss.
With the discussed changes, the
Yes.
few changes, and I will make those and I will provide a final copy. This is a stamped draft, so it's.
You need to
I'll
change
second that.
822 on the front page.
I
Oh, yeah,
saw that too.
I saw that,
know.
yeah,
Sorry.
2022.
I started this in 2021.
Yeah,
You
you
did.
see that.
I'll second it.
Kevin
Uh,
seconded.
And seconded it already, sorry.
Sorry.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Okay.
Make sure I get a copy of that.
No, we're gonna leave you out.
You already did.
Well, I did because I didn't, it was mostly I did, I'm sorry. And I'm gonna explain why. Doesn't matter.
It's okay.
Okay, so I have 2 people approach me this month. Interested in being on our Environmental Conservation Commission, and we happen to have 2 vacancies. So I got an email first from Kathy Berta, who lives on Broadfield Road. She recently retired from the Central New York Regional Planning and Development Board, where she served as an environmental program manager. And her primary focus there was water resource protection. We don't have any issues, do we? With a focus on land-based watershed planning and stormwater management. She says she's a strong proponent of municipal government, recognizes that towns and villages play an important and effective role in addressing these concerns and the needs of the residents. And so she thinks she could, and she said it's important to actively support one's community when one can, which is at this point, because she's retired. and she thinks that she would be able to bring some added expertise to the Environmental Conservation Commission. So I would put her name in nomination, make a motion that I'm sure that we make a motion to appoint Kathleen Burtuck to the Environmental Conservation
I'll
Commission.
second that. She's very happy to be in Pompey. I've met her when I was town clerk when they first moved here, so. should
Well,
be
you
very
can-
good.
Your comments are great, but Judy already seconded it, but thank you for your comments.
Sorry, Ann.
No, that's fine.
It's good. I'm glad you chimed in.
Especially because you know her, I don't.
Yeah, so
Bless you.
Thank you.
Judy seconded. Any other discussion? Who-
When did she move into the town?
Years ago,
Oh
several.
my- Probably 4 years ago at least, 4 or 5.
Years ago.
I don't know. I didn't know. Did she
Ann
put
knows.
it in? She didn't know. She
That's-
loves it
that's
here,
why.
though. She did say, I mean, she's got a lot of really, she brings a lot to the table to have
That's
somebody of
great.
that
Yeah.
level of experience with, I think we would
We
be
need 'em.
lucky, yeah. So all those in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carried to appoint Kathleen Burtuck. And then the other individual is John Harrington, who lives on the corner, I shouldn't say where, but he lives on Swift Road. He's married with, how many kids?
Two.
Two
Twins.
kids. He emailed that it would be an honor for him to serve on the ECC. His background consists of a bachelor's degree from SUNY ESF in environmental forestry biology. He's worked for Onondaga County at Carpenter's Brook Fish Hatchery, and he has a master's in education from Lemoyne. He's been involved with the National Oceanic, and Atmospheric Administration. I think that's what NOAA stands for. As a planet steward, developing sustainable school projects to reduce the impact of climate change. She's got 24 years of teaching experience
Wow.
at ESM, East Syracuse Manoa, in environmental science. And he's been in Pompey for 24 years. So I'm gonna again share that. These are just, I'm so excited that we
This is
have people
awesome.
stepping forward with these types of like experience and skill sets that want to get involved in town government. I just
Right.
think it will be so beneficial to us. We'll have resources.
Important.
And so,
I'll make a motion to appoint John Harrington. to
okay,
the ECC
second it.
board.
I think James was gonna.
Okay,
No, that's all
I
right.
told him to.
He doesn't, you gotta be quick.
Yeah, I'll second it then, but if you want.
No,
I'm
no,
not
I'll
worried
give it up
about,
to you,
I'm not worried
James.
about her.
We've got 2 seconds. Any discussion?
No,
All those in favor?
I,
Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Okay. I gave you just tonight, because I just talked to Tim about it today, that there's a resolution in here to renew our commitment to the stormwater. The CNY get it out, Renee, Stormwater Coalition. Which would require us to have a representative on behalf of the town, but also we pay into this program, and it has educational features, correct?
We have to be a member in order to meet the criteria for the stormwater
For MS4. and-
MS4. So,
Okay.
and I think it's about $3,500.
And- Okay, and I somehow think we didn't do this last year, because I couldn't find one from last year, only from 2020.
We did, but
I thought we did too.
I thought we paid them at least.
We paid them, but I don't, maybe we did, I just couldn't find it, so. So this resolution has been approved by Tim, and I'm looking for a motion to continue our participation in this program, and it would name me as the town supervisor.
I'll make a motion.
I second it. Okay, we've got James making a motion and Judy seconding it. And- Any discussion? This is a pretty standard thing. It was something we have to participate in. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. So I gave, and Ann and Bill also have this folder, but I gave each of the board members. Where did I put mine? Oh, here's mine. Mine's not green, but
Carl was so fast.
yes, you could not be Carl. And you know, I'm just gonna tell you, your little sidebar conversations, everybody can hear them, so. And it's hard for them to hear what is being told. Just saying. So anyway, the green folder is on the Pivot Energy solar project that is being proposed over on Sweet Road. I did these folders up because it contains what I think, if I compiled it, and if you start at the back, at the very end of it, the first thing that came through the July 6th, no, the very, maybe, anyway, it starts in July with the company submitting a cover letter with documents attached, setting forth what the project involves. And there is a cover letter there. So it talks about the size of the project, the acreage it's going to cover, what kind of land it's, the zoning, et cetera. And then it goes forward through the planning board process, which is our first step in solar tier 3 review for site plan concept review. You are missing the September, which was the first presentation of the planning board meeting minutes, because I don't have them and they're not on the website for some reason. And I think must be somebody forgot to give them to Veronica. So I've talked to planning board about getting those up on the website, but you do have December's minutes. And there are 2 attachments to that, and you do have November's minutes. And then you have, God bless you. And then you also have the actual page and a half, I think, of the, it's not quite page and a half, the recommendation by the planning board to the town board. And then you have a January 3 email attached to which is a cover letter to the town board, because now we're at step 2, which is overlay district consideration. I've talked to the program for the project developer and told them that there was no way we were going to put this on the agenda for tonight. And he understands that and is expecting to probably present in April, at April's meeting. Because I said we didn't have the recommendation yet. The planning board just met in February, 3rd week in February, to give final approval to the December meeting minutes. And so it's been there's been some delay there, but we have, I think this is everything that we have so far. So I think what I would ask, you have homework, board members, and Ann, you have one of these here. I can send it down to you if you want. But homework before the next board meeting, which is to look at this, but also look at it, and then look at our solar local law and see, like, we really need to be our local law on overlay. And I'm wondering if we need our engineer involved with the town board's processes. Would that be wise to have John here?
I think so.
Okay. So I will talk to John about being able to attend.
Deposit from the developer then to cover that cost, or is that a town cost
For having the engineer.
to review all this paperwork that's coming in?
Well, I think she wants him to be at the board meeting.
Board meetings, but he's gonna need to have this too.
All
And
right, well then, yeah, we should establish it. If that's not already in the code.
I don't,
what isn't already? in
do we have something in the code for a developer deposit so that engineering and legal review would be,
I don't know if it's in the, well, I know we have a developer deposit and
Yeah, it's different than an application fee.
we have it for subdivision, zoning, planning and that kind of stuff.
John Shaheen is here tonight. Do you know, John?
I can't recall the fee structure. Remember, we talked about setting up the fee structure. And I believe it's an application fee plus
Plus,
a deposit for engineering and legal services?
As part of the application fee, as part of the application, I think you're right. It wouldn't hurt, I guess, to set a deposit of, I would say
I would think
$5,000.
minimum.
$5,000 for engineering.
It's in the binder.
It probably is. But not about the fee structure. I think it's a board meeting thing. I thought we said that at each level had a certain fee associated with it. And that we didn't require, but the thing I can't remember, and I'd have to go back and look at the minutes, do we require that all fees be paid up front, or as you,
You would for.
as you went to the
professional fees,
next?
You would,
Yeah.
you would.
So I think they've paid in, I think it was like $7,500 or I,
What's the name of the group?
it's Pivot Energy.
Consider it just, so I won't have them listed. I just don't remember that.
I'm looking,
large
I'm looking on
deposit.
I'm looking on the site to see if the local law is still not been added to our code.
I know. We have a quote.
Oh,
Just got it today.
Actually, and Nikki's gonna pursue that. I mean, that we're gonna just move forward with that. We talked to Tom about that. We have the money in the budget and we'll get it updated. It is on the website. If you go to, under information on the Town of Pompey website, the local laws there, John.
Has there actually been an overlay application made?
Well, yeah,
I think that was.
this is what the January 3rd, 2020 letter purports to be.
Okay,
The only one I have a deposit showing for is Pompey Community Solar. That's the only one that I show having received a deposit for.
We'd have to go get the file.
Yeah.
Do you want me to go get it?
No, I don't think we need to address it tonight, but it is that's why we have these learned experts over here who can remind us of things that we might not be picking up on. Yeah.
Well, Pompey Community Solar Site Plan was from Pivot Energy, Inc.
Oh, that's it.
That's it. I thought they made it.
What did they, how much?
$7,500.
That's what I thought.
Good memory.
But that was for their site plan. Is this something else?
And yes, this is for an overlay district for their site plan.
Okay, so. all
And
right, we're good then.
I'll make a note to double check our meeting minutes, because I know we discussed this. I just don't remember when. In like at what point. I'm sure it was after or at the time that we were passing the local laws. That's,
We should just make sure John Dunkel knows that this has to be billed separately for his attendance in the meeting and when you send it to him for review.
okay. And it's going to go to this account, is what you're saying. Okay, yeah, that's fine. So I just want everybody to understand that we're now taking on the decision-making for the overlay, and that will be, the process will start next month. And depending on what guidance we get from legal and or our engineer, we will be eventually setting, likely be setting a public hearing on whether or not to allow the overlay. And so, you know, the planning board was a split vote on this, 4-2, not to recommend this project.
Not to recommend the zone change.
Right, sorry. Yeah, and but there, and we can save it for another time, because we really do need to discuss this whole thing and look at it in total. One of the things I suggest we do is, as a board, we hold a meeting, special meeting at the site. I think people need to see the site in order to make a decision.
I would want to see it.
Yeah,
Well,
so I know that's a little unusual, and I don't know how I'm sure we can't virtually, maybe Veronica can live stream it for whoever, but I do think that, we should go to the site and I would need real guidance on what at the site we do. We just look, Do we discuss? Can we discuss or how does that work?
If the board is getting together, you would have to notice that in the paper.
Yes.
And you can discuss whatever you want, as long as it's been noticed in the paper that there will be a meeting on site. People will
Okay.
be able to come.
Was it a, so we'd have a public meeting then?
Yeah, but I would have it be a special meeting. I wouldn't want to have a whole board, regular board meeting at the site. We would just have a special meeting where we would go as a board.
Yeah.
To the site.
So then like at that meeting, the neighbors could.
Anybody could come,
All right.
but, you know, I'll have to talk to the property owner to make sure. I don't want to be standing on the side of Sweet Road holding this meeting, but,
I hope it's nice out.
I know, well, we'll
Not
make
like it
sure,
doesn't
I
say.
know, so we'll try and make sure that that's the case, but I just think that's part of our due diligence, is we should see it.
I mean, I think as a board, we should all physically see, you know, it.
Yeah.
At least before we're voting on it, we should physically see what.
If we're gonna overlay, if
Right.
we're gonna consider overlaying a piece of property, I think we should see the piece of property. The other thing is, as we do have the option of just deciding not to consider this, because it's a zone change. And the board, it's in our discretion whether or not, I've learned this from Tim, whether or not we want to entertain the zone change. So that is, you know, we will have to cross that hurdle first to see if we even get to the point where we'll have a public hearing. But I think before we discuss do any of that, we really need to see the site. So anyway, that's my thought on that. And do some homework in between now and next month, and we'll hear from Pivot and come with questions, because it's gonna be an opportunity to ask questions. Okay. I gave you all the proposal from Arcadis for doing the landfill monitoring. Our current, our new engineer. You over there, Tim?
Go ahead, Clyde, sorry.
That's all right. Our current engineer is not going to take on the landfill monitoring, so I asked Arcadis for a proposal. It's somewhat similar, isn't it?
We budgeted 15,000
I know,
and
so
I
it's
think that's
in
what,
the-
it's about the same number as last year. from what
Yeah,
I'm seeing.
yeah. So if you've had a chance to look at it, this is to monitor is it on number 4 road? And-
Yes.
Yes. And they have to do, I think, sampling, periodic sampling during the year, and then reports and all that good stuff. It gets sent out to labs, and we make sure that,
And I think they
Yeah.
only bill us for actual costs. I think this is an estimate.
Yes.
It usually comes in a little bit
it
less.
came in less last year.
Yeah, I think it was about 11 grand last year.
Yeah.
I think I looked it up for you.
Yes, you did. So, James, would you like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we have Arcadis do the landfill monitoring.
Second it. Judy seconds it. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Okay, I will sign that and send it back to Steve, and I will give it to Nikki. I have nothing to report on the swim program, unfortunately, because despite reaching out to Cas College and my contact there, both by telephone and email, and saying that we had a meeting tonight, I would like to be able to report something. I have not heard from them, so unfortunately, it's still a question mark as to what the program will look like this year. I am so hoping that it will look like it did in 2019.
Before, yeah, right.
But I don't know that. And the colleges are different, it seems, with COVID. They're a little bit less, they're not risk takers at all. So we'll have to see how this works out, but hopefully next
Fabius would
month.
like to enter into the intermunicipal agreement. They agreed to the $100 per student.
Okay,
Would you like me to bring it up with Lafayette tomorrow?
sure.
Even though we don't really know.
We're
whether it's gonna
still,
go.
we don't know what it's gonna look like, but if we have it, do they want in?
Right. Okay, I'll
Okay,
approach it
so
that way
yeah,
then. Thank
Yeah. So hopefully by next month, I'll know something. And I actually thought, I've been thinking about having liaisons from the board to different departments. So we can keep track of what highway's doing, and
Good
or
luck.
just have somebody who's a contact person on the board for people. Good luck, I know. But I thought maybe James would like to take on the swim program. So we'll see.
I
We'll
like
see what,
it. I'll be there.
we'll see. That's what I mean. Yeah, we'll see what it looks like as far as what we can do this year, but I was thinking we could offer you to like, I mean, you have a strong interest in it, so.
I'm very strong interest
Yes.
and I will be there. I mean, there's,
Okay.
you know, half the time, at least I'm the one taking the kids. and picking
Yes,
them
I've
up,
seen you
so.
there when I take paychecks. So the last thing on the list, and it's more just please check it out. I don't know if anybody saw the article in the Sunday newspaper 2 Sundays ago on the senior exemptions, the tax relief for seniors. The link to the article is there. It really, to some extent, and they only talked to one tax assessor, which I didn't think was fair to all tax assessors. And I think every tax assessor office is doing the best they can, especially with the exemptions and trying to help people. But it was a really good, just nuts and bolts kind of information after they got through the beginning part of the article on what exemptions are out there. So I just want to point it out to the board because it's good for us to know. It's a great little article to just
Right.
catch up on it. I think tax assessors do a lot of
Oh, yeah.
provide a lot of assistance to,
Mhm.
it's not easy. The state has a lot of hoops you have to jump through. And they do the best they can. And if people have to go back and pick up and, get something else from home,
Right.
it's not necessarily their fault. They're gonna have to submit these things to this, up the ladder
Right,
and then
right.
it'll get bounced back. So they're just trying to make sure everybody's tax exemption forms get in, have the proper, they spend a lot of time on this, believe me.
Mhm.
So I think going forward, what I'd like to do is put something out in a newsletter format that would provide our seniors and our veterans and our disabled and our farmers with like what the exemptions are that are available. That's one thing that caught my eye in the article was that it made it sound like probably there are seniors that don't realize
Right,
these exemptions exist. So I think that we should try and provide a little bit more information about that. We can put it on our website, we can put it on our Facebook page, but I think to just get that information out to seniors. So I just wanted to share that.
I saw that article. It was very good.
Yeah, it was,
Excellent.
it was.
If
So,
you look at your budget from last year, if you look at the last page, there's a listing of all the exemptions and how many are taken in the town and what their value is.
really?
yeah,
Wow.
and what percentage? Our budget is,
What percentage our budget's reduced by?
well, not our, yeah, so that, like, how much of actually what the assessed property is.
Right. It's really showing you what percentage doesn't pay taxes.
Right.
And everybody else makes up for them.
Yes. Yes, so which,
If you want to see a scary one, pull up Fabius's budget.
Really?
They have a lot of public land.
oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And then that movement wants them to buy TOG and take even more property off the tax rolls.
Oh,
I don't know if they can handle it. Okay, I think. Did I get through? I think I got through my list. Is there public comment?
There were a couple things on Facebook. Some comments about Lloyd Sutton. The town would be happy to have Lloyd back from Tim Chrysler. Wasn't a popular guy, which means he did his job.
That's a good comment.
Stan Gorman has questions about the solar application. Is this the same solar application that the planning board voted not to approve or not to move forward?
Yes.
They voted, theirs is a recommendation, but it's up to the town board to consider it.
And then he asks, the ECC is part of this process for this solar application. When does the ECC look at the application?
I will tell him, Stan, I will take that up with Frank because as we've said before, this is our first go round.
Yeah, right.
So
And what is do they?
the ECC once it gets to the town board, the ECC it will be given it to consider and also make a recommendation back to the town board. If it gets approved, the overlay, and it goes back to the planning board for site plan review, the ECC will again have the opportunity to weigh in on the site plan specifics. So if anybody makes it through this process, it'll be a miracle.
So that they will have their input. No, but we decide if
We
we're gonna move
decide,
forward at
right,
all with it, right?
Right, we decide, it's completely, I would rather have Tim,
Okay.
you explain it. It's completely within our discretion, right?
So because it is a zone change, this board will make a determination whether or not it wants to hold a public hearing for the zone change probably at the next meeting. After the applicant has presented application. This board could, of course, refer it to the ECC for their review and their thoughts on the overlay district. But if you decide at the next meeting that you want to go forward with a public hearing on the overlay district, and let's just assume for sake of argument that it gets passed, that the overlay district is created and is set down on this property, then they still have to go through a site plan process with the planning board. And the planning board can again go to the ECC.
They'll refer it to the ECC.
I don't think our law requires them to at any point, but I don't remember whether they do.
I think it does. I think they're,
What was it to?
Whether our local law requires the ECC to make a recommendation on the site.
I believe it does.
Okay. It'll be the local law. So that's the process.
Okay.
But the process kicks off by this board saying, okay, we're considering an overlay district.
Right.
Or no, we're not gonna
We're
consider
not.
overlay
So-
district.
If we're not,
That's step
and if
one.
not, then the
Right.
ECC
go
is.
back.
Then they're out.
And nobody does anything.
One more comment from Stan. Just wanted it noted that T-Mobile is putting up cell panels on one of the towers on Sevier Road.
We're aware because there's a building permit.
Okay.
That, I believe, is it.
Okay.
John wanted to say.
Oh,
Couple things, Tim, I just need to catch you quick after the meeting. Something. And PR, I got your voicemail today, and the lighting project in the highway garage has been completed. So I got an email today from Green Team Lighting wanting us to sign off on the National Grid paperwork. So I was wondering, in fact, you don't even have to be there if you don't want to, but when I could stop in and just kind of look over everything.
I just printed that out. I don't know where I put it, but I got it too.
Make sure they have everything that,
I'll give it
Well,
to you.
just give me a call first, John, and then come on up.
okay,
Make sure somebody's there, you know what I mean?
yeah. Maybe tomorrow,
That's fine, yeah, we'll be there.
okay. I'll give you a ring.
Yep.
You get copied on that, Renee?
I got it. Yeah, I thought I was supposed to sign it. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why. I was, it must be in my office.
Yeah, well, I was pulled off on that until
Yeah.
because there were some oddball things over there, and I just want to make sure they.
Okay. Okay.
Area back in the parts room there and some of that ancillary wall lighting.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure they got what we.
I can give him a copy of what I
No,
have.
that's
It's him that signs off on it or it's me?
No, you would,
I,
the supervisor.
oh, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
So,
but I just want to check.
Let's go through.
oh, all right.
Everything's kosher.
Then I'm
in
not
the
giving you
building.
anything.
No.
You can talk to him about it later. All right.
Are you, Bruce, you said you're happy with it?
Yeah, oh, they're bright, I'll tell you. You gotta walk in with sunglasses on at 3 o'clock in the morning. Oh, yeah, it's bright. No, it's very.
I don't
very-
notice the difference in here.
No, I like
Right,
it.
it's
We like it
very
out there when
bright.
we're working, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It looks
That's what I
nice.
was thinking.
In the office, we went a little bit of little softer 4Ks or whatever they call them, but No, it was worked out good.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Okay, I think there's one more.
Yes,
Item.
I have one thing I want to share. I have a letter of resignation that I would like to read. It's dated February 7th, 2022 to me as the town clerk. Miss Reed, I am writing to provide official notification of my resignation from the Pompey Town Board effective 30 days from the date of this letter, March 9th, 2022. I have seriously considered this action and believe it to be in my best interest. I look forward to continuing to support and love living in this great community of ours. Sincerely and with the gratitude for the opportunity to serve, Judy McElhannon, Pompey Town Board Member.
So it's effective. What's today? Wednesday. Judy, I think you know how I feel about you, both personally and having joined this team in 2019. So I'm not going to belabor it, but I am so sad and sorry that you are leaving. I am going to respect the decision. I'm not going to pressure you to change it, but I am beyond sad that you're leaving. I want to thank you.
Thank you.
You have brought your personality to this work. And it's gonna be missed.
She's gonna be missed, Judy.
Thank you.
You've done so much.
That goes for me too, Judy.
Thank you. I will miss you so much, Judy.
Okay.
Thank you.
What did you say? So bring him pies?
I'm gonna bring pies.
God.
Some things won't change apparently, but your presence here will, but.
Well, it's been nice meeting you. I've only just barely got. But, so what are you gonna be doing?
Things, family things and spending time. Yeah, but I will be here. If anybody needs help, I will be here. You're my family, so I will be here. Thanks.
Okay. So
It's been a
that's,
pleasure. It's been a pleasure knowing you.
Thank
for
you.
what I've been here.
Would you pass this to Nikki?
keys.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so on that note, I'm going to make a motion to adjourn. Second.
Second,
Judy beat you out. All
good.
those in favor?
Aye.
I opposed, motion carried.
This would do that.